Woohoo! And we're live once again on another Tuesday. And I have a special guest in the house, but he's out of the house. So look at this view. This is not a virtual background, folks. This is a real background. So, Felipe, please introduce yourself and just tell the people who you are, what you do, and where you are, because it's kind of cool that you're, coming on location today. And then we'll get stuck into our topic.
Well, Jillian, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm a huge fan of yours. I think things that you do have been so amazingly helpful, not only to me, but to so many other people. So I admire what you do, and I'm so grateful to be here today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Felipe Cofiño. I'm an HR exec, and I've been an HR exec for the last 25 years. My real passion came in when I really discovered my passion for career coaching and LinkedIn coaching about 15 years ago. And LinkedIn has really driven a lot of what I do, and really has helped me along with my own personal ambitions and my professional ambitions or goals.
Awesome.
But I am broadcasting live here from the Hyatt Regency Chesapeake Bay Golf Marina Resort and Spa. And I'm fortunately not here on vacation. I'm actually here for a conference, which starts in a little bit. But right now I have some wonderful free time to spend with Jillian. So I thought, what a great view. It's not a fake background, like you said. We always have all those fake backgrounds. And so it's nice to show off a nice view that's actually real.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I absolutely love it. So, our topic today is goal setting for professional and personal success. And I loved your intro because it tied right into it. And I just have to say, you are like the busiest guy. Like you are doing stuff. You had a LinkedIn audio room. Was it yesterday?
Yep.
Was it yesterday? And are you doing one tomorrow too?
Yep.
Yeah. And you're at a conference and you're doing this live and you work and you have a job and you have a family and you have a gorgeous little dog. So, well, he's not so little, but you have a gorgeous dog. So it's just like you juggle a lot of stuff. And, I kind of was thinking before our live today about this whole thing of goal setting. And it made me kind of stop back, and I kind of went through and I looked at my LinkedIn why and how my goals for LinkedIn fit in, and my LinkedIn how, because I think sometimes you have to step back big picture. Why are we even on LinkedIn? What do we want to do? And so I thought, well, this is kind of interesting because I'm a business person. Like I am a solopreneur. So I'm a business builder. You are working at a company. And a lot of times people think LinkedIn is sort of, you get on, you have your resume and you look for a job. And then once you got your job, you just get the heck out of Dodge. You're not there anymore. So first of all, can I just kind of ask you, you're not looking for a job right now, right? So
No.
and so what's your big LinkedIn why? Why are you on this platform even to begin with?
Well, it's funny because the reason why I got on it initially, I was working at Hyatt hotels, ironically, where I'm at right now. I did work for the company for 23 years. And when LinkedIn first came out, the corporate office was like very encouraging, supportive of everyone getting on LinkedIn. It's a great way for us to connect with each other and other people in other industries. And then obviously an opportunity to recruit and find candidates. So that was my first, reason for using it. But what happened was over the years of growing, when I got into the financial industry, I had an amazing recruiter, and she was just doing amazing work with LinkedIn on finding candidates. She was definitely, very active on it. And I just started seeing how well she was actually trying. She wasn't purposely doing it, but she was branding the company by doing what she was doing, looking for candidates. And so I started realizing, wow, there's amazing opportunity to really brand the company and yourself. So I started making a goal of trying to figure out how I'm going to use this and what am I going to put out there. And one of the things that really opened my eyes was, if I want to attract talent to my company when I'm recruiting for it, why not give them a window to look into it and see what it's like? So sharing some of the exciting things that we're doing that's innovative for the company, the career advancement opportunities, the engaging events that we do that are fun. It shows that employees are engaged and having fun. Because again, everyone can say, oh, we have a great culture and it's a lot of fun. But when you see it in a video or in a picture, it kind of gives a little more truth to it. And you have a little more credibility, I guess, in your story. So I really started seeing the power of branding the company. And then I started I went to a LinkedIn in-person event about 4 or 5 years ago, and I was showing these 3 influencers that are just amazing on LinkedIn some of the stuff I was doing because they asked me to see, and I realized, and they said, well, where are the videos of you? I go, well, right here. I'm highlighting an employee here. I'm highlighting the CEO here. And like, no, just you. You need to separate yourself a little bit from the organization because you aren't well known, but your company's well known. And people resonate with people. So the more that you put yourself out there, the more that you'll probably attract more people. And so I started thinking about how I wanted to do it. And that's where I met you, and you were talking about easy peasy videos. And I was trying to do videos on my own, and I was doing them okay. But then listening to you, I got some amazing tips. I fine-tuned them. And now, people used to think that I was always doing videos. I'm like, no, I haven't always been doing videos, but I am comfortable doing videos now because of people like yourself that have helped and just practice. So I separated that a little bit. And today I'm really, like today I just posted, I actually posted it both on the company page and my page. I wrote a little bit different text in it, but I posted about our company culture because last week we had an employee barbecue for our 75th anniversary, and our CEO is a great leader. And it was really about post about strong leadership. But one of the things that I mentioned in there, and the video and the post is about, we had a dunk tank at our event last week. And it was to raise money for the American Cancer Society. And it was basically, he was the first one to sign up. He's like, I'll go in first. We're like, okay. He came out wrapped in a blanket, and we thought he just had like a bathing suit on, and that was it. He also got behind the dunk tank, took off the blanket, and climbed up. He was in his full suit, Gillian. Complete suit.
Oh my gosh.
And he got in there, and he just got dunked, and just encouraged people like, oh, I want to dunk him even more now that he has a suit. And so he raised quite a bit of money, but then each of the execs got up there and allowed themselves to get dunked, not in our suits. We got in like t-shirts and shorts.
Right.
But yeah, so that is, again, promoting the engagement and a strong leadership that shows a leader who's engaged with employees, is in tune with them, and builds meaningful relationships with them.
Oh, that is amazing. That's a great story. And who could not, what employee cannot resist the thing of like, oh my gosh, we get to dunk the execs. Yay. That's really fun. I love that. So you're doing a lot of stuff. You're doing the company page. You have your profile is excellent. You have, so many people following you. You have an incredible network. You're doing the High Achievers Hour. Did I say that right? High Achiever. And you do that every Wednesday with, please introduce your two co-hosts for that, just so that we get that out, because I want people to know about them.
It's Tuomo and Simone Tai are the two co-hosts that do it every week with me, and we've been doing it for about 15 weeks now, consistently. The one I did this past Monday was with Sumana Jetty. We do every other week, every other Monday, and ours are a little bit more like series related. We try to do a topic and try to ask the audience, what do you all want to hear more about? And so, so those are the two. One's bi-weekly and one's weekly.
I love them. And I've had the opportunity. I have a conflict right now because I'm taking a class, but I've come to a couple of your sessions, and I just thought they were really good because it was like kind of tapping into how can we like level up? How can we get better? How can we, and I think that that's all part of the goal setting, is that you have to make a decision of like, what do you want to accomplish? And then set the goals. Because I wrote a post a long time ago that like, a goal without a deadline is just a wish. And I really find that I was even tracking my LinkedIn goals today, just in preparation for today talking. And I realized some of the things I'm not accomplishing. I went, oh, light bulb moment. I didn't write them down. And that to me is a really big aha. It's like I have my LinkedIn why, I have my LinkedIn how, and my LinkedIn why is personal and professional. And, so do you have personal goals for LinkedIn in addition to your professional ones?
Absolutely. And, one of my personal goals really was, like, for example, how to run an effective LinkedIn audio room. And I started off in Clubhouse, and I was always joining rooms, but I was never leading a room as a host. And so it was one of those things where it was kind of like, also with videos, I also made a goal for that. And so it was a personal goal of mine to really host a LinkedIn audio and be able to do it comfortably and consistently. And, the way I really try to create goals is I use and this concept is used by many companies, but I learned it from Gallup organization about good Lord, 15, 17 years ago. I got sent to Nebraska and got trained there. And it was a great experience because one of the things that they introduced was action planning after you take an employee survey. And I won't dive into that. But one of the tools they use is the SMART test, which a lot of people have heard about before. And it's something that right now, we just finished doing an employee survey. And yesterday was my last meeting with the last department where I actually have them set goals for themselves that they want to create. And I have them make sure it goes through the SMART test. And what the SMART test stands for is the acronym. And it's S is that the goal's got to be specific. If I just said, oh, I just want to be on LinkedIn more often, that's too general. It's like, I want to do a LinkedIn video every other week. I want to do a LinkedIn audio once a week. That's specific. And then there's M for measurable. How are you measuring it? Well, am I staying consistent to that weekly or bi-weekly schedule? And am I doing it every single week? And then measuring also the attendance of all that. And then is it actionable? Am I actually taking action, or am I waiting for someone else to do it? And is it realistic? Do I have the time to do it? Is it something that do I have the equipment to do it? And then timely, to your point, can I do it in the time frame that I set? Is something that I'm going to do in the next 6 months, 3 months, whatever it is. But to your point, have a deadline as to when you plan to have it up and running and consistent. And so I use that in my personal life, in my professional life, and I definitely recommend people to use it because it does help you fine tune your goals and it increases your chances of having them be reached and be successful.
I agree. And I know that, like, I like that acronym, and it, that is one where it's like, I'm glad you defined it letter by letter, because it's one of those where you're just like, I know specific, but that's about it, and maybe timely, but it's all the stuff in the middle that you forget. And I think that that's good because the realistic part, it's true. Like I made this goal, but I wasn't realistic in that I said, I'm going to be on LinkedIn every day. I burnt out. I couldn't do it. It was like, I got to a point where I was just like, oh my gosh, I need some downtime. So then I started taking at least Saturday or Sunday, sometimes both. And I don't even go on LinkedIn. I don't do anything. But then I sat down and it also felt at some point that it was just like, I was like, when am I doing a video? So then I began to say, I'm going to do it Thursday, because if I do my LinkedIn lives every Tuesday, and I've been consistent for 2 years, if I just kind of said, well, I got to go live every once in a while, I'd probably never do anything. So I need that deadline, but it has to be realistic. And I can't go live every day, and I can't do a video every day. I just would burn myself out. So what I did was I broke my goals for LinkedIn into daily, weekly, monthly, and then sort of quarterly. But then there's this like empty bucket of like sad face. And it's my sad face goals of like, okay, I kind of like think, oh, I'm just going to do that when I don't know, when I break a leg and I'm confined into a hospital or something like that. And those are the kind of things that like fall through the cracks, but I'm not happy about that. So I realized maybe what I have to do is say, well, like one of my big things that I'm behind in is recommendations. I want to give some more recommendations to people. I do have a list of who I want to do. So that's part of writing it down. But I'm kind of waiting for that opportunity where I have like, oh, I'll have a whole week and I can do it. Well, that's probably not realistic. So maybe what I have to say is, how about 2 a week, 3 a week? That maybe that's more realistic, as opposed to I'm going to go through my list of 50. Maybe that's the problem. We just let it all accumulate, and then it gets a bit crazy.
No, I totally agree. I think your sad bucket, I call it my wish list, the to-do list. But I think that you make a great point, because like, look, I had finally started doing LinkedIn Lives, which was a goal of mine for a while. And I did it off our company page only. I wasn't going to do it off my page because I really wanted to highlight the employees and spotlight them. And so I've done it for the last 4 or 5 months now. And last month, and I do it once a month because, again, I knew my bandwidth. I knew that if I tried to do it every week, it'd be challenging. I didn't know if I had time. And also, I didn't have enough people lined up yet. And a lot of people didn't know what it was, obviously. And so after people started seeing what it was and knowing it, a lot more people were interested in joining me. I actually got to interview our CEO last week, and that was actually exciting.
Wow.
I really, a lot, as you know, a lot of people are always like, how do you reach C-suite or CEOs? They're not always responsive on LinkedIn. And I had him just be very candid. I go, why are you on LinkedIn? What's frustrates you about LinkedIn? And he, like clockwork, sat there and said, spam, salesy pitches, sales pitches on messages when I don't even know them. He got one for, hey, I'd love to buy you Chick-fil-A and spend 10 minutes talking to you. He's like, I don't know who you are and I don't like Chick-fil-A, so why would I respond to you? You know? But then he also shared how he would like to be approached and how what would increase the chances of him responding. And he shared that. And I thought that was really powerful. So I think having those opportunities where you can have that bandwidth and enjoy that live or video or whatever you're doing, because if you take on too much, you're right, you do burn out. And there's no question. I know that I used to post as I go, like, oh, an idea came to me and I'd go and I realized when I didn't have an idea, I'd get stressed out. And that wasn't healthy. So what I started realizing, it's kind of like when people say they wake up from a dream and have an idea and they write it down. Well, if I have an idea, even if it's just a few sentences, I'll write down a few ideas in my notes app on my phone, and then I'll build on it. But half the time, honestly, Gillian, when I start writing notes, I end up going with my thought process and I don't stop. And I write the whole post out in my notes. And I'm like, okay, well, I have that for later. And so when I go back to like, okay, what I'm going to post today, I realize I already have 3 things that I already written or started to write. And it kind of puts me at ease and lets me enjoy. So now it's like the event last week, I haven't had a chance to post it yet because we had a run this past weekend that I wanted to post about. And so, I think when people stress out about it, it's too much. Create, like you said, a calendar, a strategy behind it, and really, make your goals realistic enough that they're achievable and you enjoy doing them. Because at the end of the day, when people achieve their goals, they're happy. When I started telling people, hey, we're going to do some action planning and give you something, how do you create goals? They're like, why? I go, have you ever achieved a goal that you wanted and been unhappy? And they're like, no. I go, exactly. If it's a goal that you want and you achieve it, it's a positive thing. So people started seeing the benefit of it. It wasn't like we assigned goals to them. These are goals that they picked. So when you pick your goals, you go most likely. And that's one of the things that Tuomo was really good about sharing in one of the goal setting rooms was make sure that your goals are passionate, they have potential, and they're pursuable. And so, making sure that you have that passion is so important, because if it's not something that you are excited about or, gives you any passion, you're not likely to make it sustainable. But
No. And I agree with that. It's like, I think that sometimes we can start getting other people in our head saying, well, I should have a goal. There's nothing worse than shoulding all over yourself. And I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And you just go, is that really what I want to do? Because I only have, I have the same 24 hours in a day that you do. So I need to be spending my time doing the things that sing to my heart, like those birds. You have all these cute little birds chirping around, but I love it. I love it. But, I think sometimes we do get hung up with maybe they're the goals that your mother set for you or your spouse, or you think people, and that's probably the worst thing, is that you think, oh, well, I should be doing this because that would be natural part of what I do. If it doesn't resonate for you, don't do it, because you're probably going to drag your feet, procrastinate, and do a crappy job. So go and spend your time doing something good that's creative and fun. So it's good. I love it. I love it.
And it's funny. This is not part of the acronym, but I always add S sometimes internally to myself on the SMART goal, and the last S is for support. Because I always say, if your goal that you're trying to achieve is going to impact others, get their support and buy-in.
I like that.
My family, they know that I'm trying to work on something in the evenings on a personal goal. I let them know what I'm doing so that they can support me. They can, if I'm on an audio room, they know if they come in the room, they'll come in yelling and screaming about something. Right. But what was amazing is that a lot of the that through that communication, my mother and my wife started joining my LinkedIn audios. And so as I'm going through saying hi to people in the audience, like, oh, and there's Fina and Michelle, like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a little taken back because it's my mother and my wife, and I didn't know they were going to be here. So but also on the professional side, I've let my CEO know, hey, I'm doing these LinkedIn audio rooms, and especially when I was doing quiet quitting and quiet firing, I'm like, I don't want you to think that that's my mentality. I'm talking about it because I want to educate people and have a discussion around it. But I let him know, he's like, go be you, do what you do. I think it's great. He supports our own self-development, whether it's through the organization or outside. So it's always good, I think, to communicate and get that support by whoever, because, honestly, I'd rather be transparent and let my company know what I'm doing on the personal side. So if they see it, they know about it. They're not making assumptions.
Yep. And I think that that's very wise, especially because as you get all these skills on being LinkedIn, it's a win-win for your company, because you can't just learn LinkedIn by showing up and doing a few lives here and there. It's the posting, it's the comments. There's so much. So I would encourage a lot of people who are working for companies that go and have a talk with your management and make sure that they know you're on LinkedIn, because you're working on your own professional success, your personal success, and also too, that makes you a better representative of your company, and it's a win-win. So yeah, slinking and doing it on the shy, that's probably got to be the worst. And I think you would just feel so guilty. And if they see you, like, it's like, I'm not looking for a job, I'm really quite happy here, but exactly. I'm trying to learn social media. And that's a whole part of it, social media. Keep it social. So speaking of social, let me hop over to our comments, and we've got some friends joining us today.
Oh, great.
So we've got Jeff Young, looking forward to learning about goals. Go onward, always learning something. Isn't that amazing? I love that, Jeff. Thank you very much. Yes,
I think we learn every day. We learn something new every day, and if you think you don't, pay attention. You realize you do.
Absolutely. And that's actually one of my LinkedIn whys for, like, my personal goals of LinkedIn. I come on LinkedIn to learn something, and it's not always about video. I like to learn things about LinkedIn. I like to learn things about what are other software people that are using for goal tracking, for writing, for, a tablet, a pencil, art, whatever. So, that's a part of my goals, is to always be learning. So I love that, Jeff. Thank you. Gabe says, hey there, everyone. Look at these two awesome people. We are awesome people. We are awesome.
I was just on Gabe's live last week, and we had so much fun. He does a great show every night at 8 o'clock. And I love his passion and his honesty and transparency.
Yeah, that was fun. I've been a guest on too. So he gets a like party in the comments. He gets a lot of people on his lives, Hi, all. It's always sad when somebody's like the mysterious LinkedIn user, but it's just a settings thing. It's a privacy thing. So hi, I'm watching from California. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us.
Actually, Emo has been a recent follower of our LinkedIn audio room. So hi, Emo. It's great to see you. So she was in our room last night and one last week. So it's a new friend that I've made on LinkedIn recently.
Awesome. So maybe Jeff will help. Is it him or her? Her. Okay, maybe Jeff is usually good about giving people tips on how you can change those settings.
Yeah, it's usually under settings and visibility usually, but Jeff, I'm sure, can add more detail to that.
Yeah. So we've got Marcia Lee. She's coming in from Washington. Hello, Jillian and Felipe. I am working on setting a day and time for my live broadcast. Since I work 7 days a week, I'm finding it a bit challenging. That is challenging. So probably the day where you have the most energy that you can do it. So whether that's I know a lot of people are starting to do lives on Saturdays and Sundays. So, pick the time and the date that work for you. That's my best recommendation. And I don't think that there's, like, somebody asked me once, is there a particular time to go live? It's like, we have the world, we have people all over the world. So even if you end up going live in the middle of the night, somebody's awake somewhere. So
and take that for replays. We have replays, and Marcia is very passionate about what she talks about. And so I look forward to the day when she actually does have one, because I love to watch it, because she's just very passionate. So
she is very passionate, and I was on her very, very first time she went live. Tony McClellan and Tony over with her fairy dust. We got on the live with her, and we held her hand the first time, and she didn't even need us. She was a pro. She was absolutely a pro. Sarah Dodd says, woohoo, we're getting them across the pond now. Deadlines and lists are right up your street, Jillian. It's so true. It's like, I have this expression, Felipe, that if it's not written down, it ain't going to happen.
Yes.
And it's true. It's true. Like, if I just say,
or you forget it.
yeah, I just like my brain can only take in so much. And I really do have a nice little brain, but it's just wee. It's just a wee little brain. It can only do so much. So I rely on my calendar. I rely on scheduling things, reminders, you know,
Yeah.
putting an appointment to the calendar, all these different things, they're all part of it. Having your goals written down and setting reminders on your calendar that, like, if you're going to be doing something, even if it's not an appointment that you're going to be meeting somebody, if you wanted to say, oh, okay, I want to do my newsletter, I put that on my calendar, but I also put when I need to prepare, not when I need to post. So I do both. I do both.
And that's a great point, because I mean, for me, when you write things down, you kind of free up your brain from stressing of having to remember. And so
Yes.
I think it's a nice relief. And, you know, at the end of the day, when you sit there and do that, you're more likely to achieve it. And again, those reminders are crucial. Like when I started doing content, I wanted to be consistent. I was like, okay, video Wednesdays, fun Fridays, career Tuesdays. And I started labeling certain days that I wanted to focus on being consistent with those messages. And so obviously the videos I stopped, but no, I think that's brilliant, writing it down.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Heather Chauvin, I was scared I'm going to mess up people's names. Agreed. If the task is too big, my head goes in the sand. That is. So have you got a good tip on how to break down our big goals into baby goals?
Yeah, you know, for me, I always tell people, if the goal, like that's going down to the timely from the SMART acronym, you know, if it's going to take you a year and a half or a year to achieve the goal, break it up into like quarterly milestones, or even monthly if you want to be that, you know, aggressive, and have those milestones. Like, okay, I want to do this by this quarter. I want to do this by the second quarter, and set yourself those smaller goals within that quarter, because you want to have some feeling of accomplishment. And if it's a year away, that's a long time to feel like you've accomplished everything. So having those small little chunks and breaking up into even chunks, and really set yourself some realistic goals, and treat those quarterly goals like they're their own standalone goals, even though they're contributing to the major goal. And I think when you do that, you'll feel a lot more at ease and have a lot more structured process to help you achieve it.
I love that. I love that. And celebrate each time you get to a part on, you know, as you get along the way. It's like, yay, I've got the draft of my script, and yay, I got the recording done. I can go, you know, take a break now. Now I'll do the editing, you know, whatever you need to do, celebrate the little wins along the way. So
Absolutely.
important. So important. Jeff says, I've always found a part of being smart is to meow. He's so good with these acronyms. Manage others' expectations at work. That's a good one. Do you want to talk about that in terms of work?
You know, absolutely. Because, you know, one of the things, obviously being HR, you know, we have progressive discipline, and a lot of people have heard about the verbal warning, the written warning, the final written warning. One of the things I instituted at my past job and my current job was a documentation of expectations. And it's not anything scary. It's when a manager comes to me and is like, I'm having challenges with the employee, they're just not getting what I need them to do. And, you know, I don't want to write them up yet. I go, well, it sounds like you maybe just have different communication styles. Maybe you're just not understanding each other. Why don't you put it down on paper? And I have a template they use. And I'd say 8 out of 10 times the employee gets it and they are turned around and the manager's happy as can be. But when you lay down those expectations in writing, it provides an opportunity to have a discussion around it, and it clarifies any confusion that there may have been through the communication. Because again, we all communicate very differently. I talk very fast and I think very fast. Other people need time to process. So giving them something to read, they can remember what you said, but they can also process what you wrote. And then that helps guide them to be more successful and a better team player at work. So I definitely agree with Jeff, you know, managing others' expectations and communicating your own so they understand what their expectations are of you as a manager. Because at the end of the day, if they're looking for you to help develop and grow them, you need to know that they want that from you. Some people are like, nope, I'm happy with my job. I don't need to move up. I just need you to completely support my decisions, but other than that, I'm good. Other people are like, I want to have career advancement discussions with you. And I want to know. And so when they have those expectations, it's good to know that so you can help meet them. And in turn, hopefully they'll meet yours.
I love that. I love that. So, okay. So we're almost coming up to our 30-minute mark.
Wow, that was fast.
I know, it's just like Zoom goes right through, and we have other comments. Oh, let me just grab John's right at the end. Good to see you both. I'm late today. The chili pesto chicken needed attention. And I love this. I love this because John is always reinforcement that people are multitasking when they're watching these LinkedIn lives. Sometimes they're not watching, they're cooking and exercising and doing all sorts of things. So I love that. And I hope that this whole recording comes into these LinkedIn audio events, because those we'd all love to catch on the replay as well. So thank you for joining us today, John. That's great. Better late than never. That's what I always say.
Hope your pasta comes out okay, John.
Yes. So, okay. Why don't you give us a takeaway that kind of sums up your whole thought today?
My takeaway is that I think at the end of the day, if you are feeling like you don't know what direction you want to go to, or if you're feeling like you have an idea but you don't know how to get there, you've got to start somewhere. And I always say, and talking from someone with experience that was a very big procrastinator in college, procrastination is not your friend. And sometimes just getting started on a goal is half the battle. After that, once you start, it seems to like snowball a little bit, and it'll grow in a good way. So definitely, don't be afraid. Take that initiative, and you don't have to sit there and do it quickly. Do what's right for you. And I strongly suggest use that SMART acronym. You can Google it. It's very easy. I'll put it in the comments later on, Gillian, as well. But I think that at the end of the day, don't be afraid, because at the end, when you have goals that you achieve, it gives you this joy, and that's where you can celebrate, like Gillian said, those little accomplishments, and you really feel like you've accomplished something, and it helps you grow and develop. Because the last thing I'll say is it opens doors to things that you never even thought of. I used to not partner with marketing a lot. Since I started doing all this stuff on LinkedIn, marketing has come to me with questions. Oh, can I borrow that picture, that video that you did? And I'll steal their images and their videos. And so it's a great partnership. So I never thought that people used to think that I was in marketing. I'm like, no, I'm in HR. I'm like, oh, it just seems like you're doing marketing. I'm like, no, but I'm starting to enjoy it. But we have a wonderful marketing team. So it's just a great partnership, and it opened up doors to things that I never thought I would enjoy, and opportunities that might be coming up in the future for me that I won't mention right now, that again, I never thought I'd be going in that direction, but it's something that's exciting. So don't let fear stop you. Take the reins, and it's your life.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Great summation. Well, thank you very much for being my guest today. I'm so glad that I finally got to meet you for the very first time in person. We've talked lots of times on Clubhouse and LinkedIn audio and all sorts of places, but it was just so nice to see your face and your gorgeous scenery and your birds and the clouds and the sea and everything else behind you. Absolutely awesome. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you'll join us again next week, and we'll do another LinkedIn Live with Gillian and friends. Okay, bye everybody. We'll talk soon.
Bye.